The new year is here with us, and the sporting world is kicking into life gradually. We have everything to serve you today, from the Ghana Premier League to the FA Cup to all the other leagues that are resuming once again. Benjamin Nketia here. My good friends are in studio with me. We are back, refreshed, even better. That's what it's all about, serving you sports, giving you a breakdown of everything that has happened over the weekend. We'll take our first break here, of course. When we come back, I'll be introducing my guests, and then we'll get today's show going. So we have some local football to talk about. The Black Galaxies, of course, are in action. They will be kicking off that Chan tournament on the 15th. So we'll be getting into their preparations and all of that. So do stay with us here. There's a lot to unpack. Potterball and Chelsea are in the mix as well. It's spicy, I can promise you that. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Like I said, the sporting world is kicking gradually into action. My good friends are here, Coach Christopher Nimili and Susu Graham. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Oh, it's all good.
Charlie, the year has started, so we are here refreshing, ready to serve the people of Ghana. Yeah. This is their best show, and we promise that, look, from the way Porter has started, oh, Charlie, no more.
Charlie, but you know that's the Daniel Sturridge dance, the dance you keep.
Yeah. Porter ball.
Are you happy that they are struggling? Is that why you are dancing?
No, they are doing well, actually, to be honest with you. Because if you've given the man the job, he's just been in the job for 3 months.
5-year contract.
5-year contract.
Yeah.
You have to be patient. Relax. It will come good.
There was the World Cup break.
There was the World Cup break. So he's not even had the time to work with them consistently. So there will be such performances. So when we get there, I'll point out the loopholes in the team, sing a bit of song to get them to be happy a bit. Because look, the mood in that dressing room is absolutely sad.
One win in 7 matches.
Goodness me. You can clearly see him.
It's weird because they started out quite well in terms of results.
Yep.
In terms of results, yes.
When they started
at the
beginning, the results were fine. So it's weird that they've kind of just come to where they are right now.
But it's good to see both of you.
Yeah,
that's the boiling pot. We'll get there in a bit. Let's start off locally because the Bet Power League returned this weekend. Accra Hearts of Oak, they were in action. Very interesting game there against Tamale City. Remember, Accra Hearts of Oak these days are under the tutelage of a Serbian manager. Let's get into the action. Let's see how it broke down in that particular game.
Drawing Tamale City, it is Obin Jr. with a cross flicked away by Banyako, living to Salif Ibrahim. He makes it 1-0 for the Phobians. Hatzabok up by 1-0. Here's Yaya. Now Kote. Lovely cross in. Headed by Eduku. Isaac Mensah sets up Yaya Mohamed. It's a goal line clearance for Inkum. And it's a penalty. Adisawa brings down Yaya and it's a penalty. This is a cross from Kote. Nodded down by Eduku. It fell to Isaac Mensah. He sets up Yaya and Inkum cleared it on the line. And Adu Jr., in an attempt to clear the ball, made contact with Yaya Mohamed. He's a Cape Coast boy, and he wants to score in his hometown, and he scores! Switches to Mensah. Here comes Isaac Mensah. He's up against Okine. It is still Mensah. He whips in across. Eduku's header, and it's the second goal for Tamale City. Salif Ibrahim with an in-swinger. Asante Yeboah trying the volley. And the Phobians have equalized. 30 seconds after the break. Okine. Inkum. Soa. Inkum is looking for Okine. Good play from Rashid Okine. Has the ball, have a chance. Here's Yassan Auchin. Now Mensah. Salif Ibrahim. His effort was weak. Caleb Amankwa on the volley. Wonderful goal. Caleb Amankwa. Full credit to Rashid Okine. He did well. He didn't give up. Isaac Mensah found Salifu Ibrahim. Once the effort came back from Amar Boateng, Caleb Amankwa on the volley. Oh, that's an awesome finish from Amankwa.
So difficult game, but Accra Hearts of Oak managing to scrap through. 3-2 is how they ended this particular encounter. Coach, your thoughts? It looks like things have been looking up ever since Matic took charge of Hearts of Oak.
But on record, he wasn't the one in charge for this.
So he's been given sick leave, apparently. I don't want to sound skeptical, because the last time this happened with Accra Hearts of Oak, we know how it ended. Yeah. In fact, twice. Yes. Once it was an administrator, the second one was a head coach.
Exactly.
They both took medical leaves to go to their country to do what's not. It ended up being the last time they were ever seen in the role. I'm not saying that that's what it is. The team says that Matic has been given a leave of medical absence to go take care of stuff in his native Serbia. So, like you said, on record, he was not in the dugout for this game.
So, just to say something a bit on his supposedly medical leave.
Yeah.
My checks have also told me that it would be a miracle to get him to come back. I don't think he's going to come back. And I've spoken to one or two people that are very close to the man, very close to him.
Is he unhappy?
I think unhappy, yes, with some few things. And then family commitment would just not allow him to stay in Ghana. So I don't know what is going to get him to come back. I hope he comes back. But from what I have been told, I doubt whether he's going to come back. But having said that, let's go to this game. I think Hearts of Oak actually didn't want to play this game. From the management to the coaching team to the playing body, psychologically, they were not ready for this game. That's why they nearly lost it, or they nearly threw away a 3 points. A game that we all expected them to go into, to be very dominant, and then go and take the maximum 3 points. But from the way they were seeking to get the FA to postpone this game, it more or less manifested itself in the game itself. They were very lethargic, very casual on the day. No defensive organization. They just allowed Tamale City to just walk through them as at when they decided to. In fact, truth be told, Tamale City should have gone up by at least 2 goals before Hearts of Oak scored their first penalty. And just after scoring that first penalty, in the space of 3 minutes, Hearts of Oak has conceded 2 goals. Hearts of Oak scored. Tamale City picked up the ball. When they went onto the attack, they also got a penalty. They equalized. The game got resumed. Hearts of Oak again conceded in the space of 2 minutes. So you look at the goals that they conceded again. You ask yourself, I don't think there was coaching going on.
I would rather blame the goalkeeper. I think he didn't try for both the penalty and the header.
The header looked like poor goalkeeping too.
It was a poor goalkeeping. But if the team is being properly coached defensively, that cross should have been blocked. The header shouldn't be allowed to happen. If you look at their defensive shape, as at the time the cross was done, there was no cover. That's why the attacking player just had to head the ball across. Normally, when the ball is headed back to where it came from, goalkeepers will tend to be very, very difficult on their part to be able to adjust their body and then dive. So yes, you want to blame the goalkeeper, but on the aspect of being very technical, you don't want to blame him, because his standing position at the time of the header would determine whether he would dive in or not. But having said that, they were very lucky. When I said they, House of Folk were very lucky that at the time of going 2-1 down, they had another 45 minutes to play for. That was when I think when they went to the dressing room, they were reminded that, look, guys, you cannot throw away this game. It's a game that you must win, because very soon there will be some very difficult games coming your way. If you were to drop points against Tamale City, a team that is not good on the travel, then surely you should not be thinking of winning this league and going back to Africa. But credit must be given to this guy, the one who scored the last goal for Hearts of Oak, Caleb Amankwa. He's fond of doing these things. He's a goal-scoring midfielder.
Scores a lot of late goals.
Late goals, solid volleys. This is about the third time he's done this in the Hearts of Oak shirt. And for me, he's one player that, look, I was so sad when I got to know that Hearts of Oak personally requested his withdrawal from the Chan team. I don't know why they did that, because this boy is one of the very intelligent players in our league who should have been given the exposure in the Chan tournament to see whether Hasselhoff as a team can make some money out of it, because they take it or leave it. It is what it is. These guys will have to go where they have to go in order to make good money, because their footballing career is a very short span, maximum 15, 18 years, you are done.
That's even the best case
scenario.
scenario.
That's what I'm saying, maximum. 15, 18 years, you are done. Most likely, for a typical Ghanaian player, 10, 12 years.
He's probably done 5, 6 of those years already.
So why have they kept him in the league? But look, having said that, they may look at the goal he scored yesterday and begin to argue that this is why we didn't want him to go. But as to whether they can have him to sustain that whilst the others will come back after the chance, we'll live to see. So it was a game they needed to win, and I'm happy they did.
Let's go to Kumasi and let's check out that game between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and the Accra Great Olympics. It was a very enticing game. It was nice. In the end, Asante Kotoko pulled out a late goal to literally even out the game. Olympics would feel hard done by, because this is a game they should have wrapped up. Created a lot of chances, could not take most of them. Let's see how it broke down.
Put a foot through him and get a free kick out of that. Good play from Bedu.
Charge on the far side. Olympics keep the ball in play. That's some good tidy play there as he clips the ball into the middle. And that's the first goal for Accra Great Olympics. That's Bashiru. Out of nothing.
Yeah, and Kotoko has stunned. Really stunned.
Out of nothing.
It's an incredible goal. Oh, right from the play here. It seems Kotoko had it covered here. But when Bonsu missed that tackle, it was still Gideon Ofoe in control. And after he whipped the ball across, nobody there marking Bashiru. But Bashiru with a chester, the control was excellent. Hits the ball beyond the reach of goalkeeper Asari. Asari can only watch on. And the ball rolls straight to the corner. And Olympics are leading here. They deal with those crosses with cheeky ease. Jamal Dean, Setre, and of course Oko Gripman, they've been excellent.
Dying stages of this game. 90 minutes over. We're doing 10 minutes of time added on. And we've done it. Kotoko whip it through, and it's back. Yes, they're back. Andrews Kwajo Apau.
A glance of that header. And goalkeeper beat it there. The first time Olympics have failed to deal with those deliveries.
So very strange goal conceded by Asante Kotoko, but a lovely goal scored there by Andrews Kojo Apau. I love such goals because you don't typically see dead ball goals in our league, especially even in our national teams. They are very rare. So when somebody scores a glancing header from literally the last kick of the game, it's interesting. So just quick thoughts on that game. I mean, both goals, we saw the goal Kotoko conceded, and then what they also managed to get right to the death before the game.
I mean, both goals were poor in different ways. And I'll start with the goalkeeping for the Olympics goal. It's very, I mean, the goalkeeper, we see keepers do this all the time. It's like they are trailing the ball, trying to see whether to go out. Yeah. But it's like he didn't know the dimensions of his pole. Because, like, how do you follow it? Like, you're checking to see if it goes out and it just sneaks past you. That's unacceptable. And, you know, Dan Lad is not in the teams at the chance. You are thinking that this is your chance to stake your claim, show that you can be number one, get a transfer to go somewhere later, so you can be number one there. If you do this right now, everyone watching you will say that that's why you're number two. Yeah. So you stay number two, you know. And for the set piece, Coach mentioned it whilst we were watching it, the defensive line for the free kick. Yeah. You know, once you're in your 6-yard box, you've made it very difficult for your keeper to even come and claim the ball.
You can barely see what's
because there's not a lot of space. It's not even about visibility. It's not there's space for him to kind of run and jump.
Yeah.
And because you saw he tried to punch it back because the ball was so close to him. It just so if they are kind of moved a bit out, giving him at least the 6-yard box. Because you know, initially in football, the 6-yard box, players weren't allowed to challenge for the ball when the keeper was challenging the 6-yard box. Yeah. The rule was later changed, but we still have the box there. So the idea of the 6-yard box is that's your keeper's domain. Even though we don't have that rule anymore, you should at least leave it for your keeper to kind of have that space. Because it's not like it's a corner. Yeah. You can play an offside line with it and give him a bit of space to kind of go for the ball.
And again, once they decided to do the defending in the 6-yard box, they should not go zonal. then they should now what? Man mark. But if you look
you can't afford to lose the header.
Yes, of course. Because once they decided that they are going to bring the defensive line deep into the box, then they should be doing man marking. But if you go back to that goal again, it was clear that it was a zonal marking. So once the off the ball runners had sneak in front of any of the defensive line, it was a slight touch.
Yeah.
Just to take it away from the goalkeeper. Just glance off his head and into the back of the net. So to our coaches, for some of us, when we see these things, it's a bit disturbing. First of all, the defensive line was wrong. It shouldn't have gone into the 6-yard box. Once, you decide to do that, then you have to go man marking and make sure nobody is caught running off the ball to come and challenge for it. You should be blocking their runs, because in terms of numbers, there were more Olympics players in the box than Asante Kotoko players. Yeah. So as to how the Kotoko players could outrun or be first to the ball, if you are a coach, you wouldn't be happy with that.
Asante Kotoko getting their points. I'm sure they'll be happy with it. Let's check out the full list of results for match week 11 in the Ghana Premier League. Accra Lions doing their own thing. They're winning by 3-1. Kotoko Royals picking up a rare victory in their home backyard. You have Bechem United drawing 1-1 with King Faisal. So King Faisal started the season off really badly. They've picked it up. Mediama Sporting Club, after picking up a rare win following the departure of David Duncan, have relapsed again. Hard thrashing to Dreams FC, 4-0. That's a pretty hard defeat to take. But that's how things went in the Ghana Premier League. Let's come back and then let's get into some national talk, because the Ghana's Black Galaxies are all the way out there in Algeria. The chant begins on the 13th. Ghana's first game was on the 15th. We've been playing some friendly matches. We played the local Algerian side there in the tournament as well, trying to see our level of sharpness so far. That game ended in a draw, so nobody winning that game. You have an idea of the groups over there for the competition itself. So Group A, you have Algeria, the home side, Libya, Ethiopia, and Mozambique. You have Group B, has DR Congo, Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal. Group C has Morocco, Sudan, Madagascar, and Ghana. So very difficult group there. Ghana's first game is against Madagascar. You have Group D, which has Mali, Angola, and Mauritania. And then Group E has Cameroon, Congo, and Niger. So very interesting group for Ghana's Black Galaxies there. Nothing is given. Susu, let me take your thoughts on this group. So we've been prepared in Egypt for a bit. We played out that friendly match with the local Algerians. I drew that game. Anoka seems positive. He says that he's been given literally every reason to succeed in this tournament with the kind of preparation he's got. We have some experienced players in there. What are your expectations ahead of this one, looking at the group we find ourselves in?
I think the best barometer to use for the channel is to look at how the teams perform in Africa. So how the Moroccan teams perform, because those are the players who are playing in the CAF competitions and who will be called up for this. Because it's not like they are going to bring their all-stars. They can't bring all their players from wherever. And we see what Moroccan teams have been doing in CAF competitions. So that's easy. They are favorites. That's the hardest game of the competition. It's clear. Sudan, we see their teams here and there. Some of their teams are good. Some are not so good.
These teams give Ghanaians a beating most of the time.
But we definitely usually struggle when we tend to go there. But I guess that's now we have a chance to more the sum of the parts. It's not an individual team. So you can see that maybe it's be able to raise our level in there. But in the same way, they can do so. But when I look at some of the players we have in our Chan team, and we can see their trajectory. We saw someone like Barnier when he played in our World Cup, a World Cup friendly, This is a very quality player. Maybe with better players around him, we can see more of his star power and he can do something for us. So I think when we look at the team, I would say the Morocco match, we should hope for the best. But I think when I look at Sudan and Madagascar, we should be able to at least beat Madagascar at the very least. Because with all due respect, if you look at the Malagasy national team, all their players are coming from France. They barely have any local players in their national team. And their national team is not a national team that bothers the Ghanaian national team. So when I look at some of these things, it gives me an indicator that we shouldn't be too concerned. Now, how often do you hear of Malagasy sides doing big things in Africa? Yeah. It's not something you hear. So when I look at it, it's almost like it's between us and Sudan for second place in that group. So that's where I believe the group we won. I believe we should be able to beat Madagascar. I don't expect us to beat Morocco. If we get a draw, that's great. But we have to beat Sudan. I think that's where the group will be won or lost, from what I see.
Okay, so look, like you rightly said, they've been given everything to go out there and succeed. For once, you want to applaud the FA for the level of preparation. This is one of the best I have seen in a very, very long time. But having said that, I think we should play to our strength. And the strength of this team, in my view, is not the playing body. It's the technical team.
Okay.
That, to me, is the strength of the team. So I expect Anna Walker and Prosper in particular to get these boys to accept whatever they are telling them to go and do. If the boys can accept that, then that means we are playing to our strength.
Okay.
And tactically, I think Anna Walker is very experienced. Prosper Ogumtu is very experienced that they can coach the boys while the game are ongoing. I'm very happy we are playing Madagascar first because they tend to be the weakest team in the group. Anything apart from a 3 points against them, then we are in big, big trouble. So we need to find a way of winning that first game. Once we do, I think our next game too is against Sudan. And Morocco is the last one. We should ensure that by the time we get to face Morocco,
6 points.
Qualification should have been wrapped up. We should have our destiny in our hands, setting to progress to the next round of the tournament. I expect a lot from players like Glass Nawako. He should be given the license to coach this team whilst they are playing on the pitch. Because he's the most experienced.
Remember, he's won a major tournament before as well.
Of course, on the continent. So
under 20s with Andrea Ayew and Samuel Lincoln, Daniel Opari.
Exactly. And even when he got his shot at the Champions League with TP Mazembe, he was very, very influential. And with this team, it's like when he plays or when he does so well, that is when the team tends to what? Be very, very effective going forward in particular. My only worry with the team again is the defensive pair. I saw glimpses of the game against Algeria. Truth be told, we gave some chances away which we shouldn't because of the lack of the proper chemistry between the two centre-backs. Our preferred pair has been broken thanks to the people at Accra House of Oak. They just couldn't find a way of sorting out the problem between the team and Mo Alassane. And Mo Alassane, who, again, defensively, was the most experienced of them all because he had played under Coach Maxwell Konedu in the Wafu tournament and Galaxies and all that. So he's by far our best centre-back. And because he couldn't sort out the issue with Hassel, he's more or less clubless. I don't know where he is at the moment. So that, in my view, is a headache because we will need a solid backline to progress in this tournament. Anything of not being so sure, being very uncertain at the back, is going to worry us. And I'm sure that the coaches will look at the game against Algeria yesterday and begin to clearly identify that as a major problem of this team that needs solving before we begin to play our first game against Madagascar on the 15th. But everything said and done, I expect them to at least, minimum, they have to get to the quarterfinals of the tournament. No two ways about that. Because anytime we've been at the CHAN, we've not disgraced ourselves at all. I think the first time...
We've been to two finals, I
believe. Yeah, we've been to two finals. The first time the tournament was organized, and then when we went to South Africa with Coach Maxwell Konedu. So we are going back again after having been absent for the past 3 editions. We want to go out there and leave a landmark. And I think this tournament will point to us to the fact of where our league is. Yes, I agree. We've picked the best player from Kotoko, the best player from Olympics. And that, as a group, may look very strong as a unit as compared to our league standard itself. But take it or leave it. It is a tournament that is going to showcase to us where we are as a nation concerning our local league and how we need to go about things in order to go and compete. Because Sasu here makes a very brilliant point. The Moroccan national team is not going to struggle for players, isn't it?
Nope.
And it will be shocking to me if they don't pick the best of their club side dominating the continent of Africa. The Egyptians will pick from El Ali, Zamalek and co.
Strong league.
Strong league. Strong league. And for me, look, this tournament is going to be a very, very good tournament in terms of the last tournament. Did you see the quality of the football? Absolutely top notch. And this is a platform for players to showcase them. That is why, again, I'm very, very disappointed that I'm not going to be seeing Caleb Amankwa, the House of Football, in this tour because I think he would have showcased himself to present a better contract to go and ply his trade elsewhere in the game. We wish the team all the best. They have to save Kotoko. I have to say this. In every major tournament, he's taken our national team to senior national team with chop last. They cannot be last. They have to do everything practically possible. That this, in my view, is Kotoko last tournament as FA president. He cannot chop last. He needs to get this team to at least to the quarterfinals so that at least we can build on from there.
Well, we're hoping that the Galaxies will do well. Let's take a break here on the show. When we come back, we'll get into some foreign stuff. It's Chelsea, there's Man United, there's Liverpool, there's Tottenham. There's a lot of football to unpack. So let's take a quick break here on Scorecard. We'll come back and we'll get into some foreign stuff. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Citi TV. Let's move on to some foreign stuff and let's get to FA Cup action. It's the third round of the FA Cup. Let's begin with that game between Man United and Everton. Man United winning this one pretty easily, moving on to the next round of the competition. United look like they are finally finding their feet under Erik ten Hag. Let's get into the highlights of this game. We'll come back and we'll see how much progress they've made as a team. We'll also check out Frank Lampard's Everton and what they've been doing so far. So Man United, easy does it against Everton Football Club. Coach, you watched this game. United managing to beat Everton by 3-1. You like the selection from Ten Hag, and what do you make of the progress of the team so far? I mean, this was an FA Cup game, but it was a good game to actually judge the team's progress.
Exactly. Look, after the first 2 games of the season where United were in 6s and 7s, the coach he himself needed some form of adjustment to the English game. This manager had shown that he's indeed very, very smart. He knows his job. He knows what he wants. So he's choosing players who will fit in whatever system he wants to play.
Yeah.
But the main catalyst to everything Ten Hag has done so far has to be Carlos Casemiro. United, after the retirement of Paul Scholes and then Michael Carrick, went close to 5-6 seasons without a proper DM. They depended on the Fred McFred combo. We complained and complained bitterly. The very moment they decide to go and bring a specialist in that role, I will not say arguably, the best in the business. Because if you're not good enough, you not play for Real Madrid for close to 9 years in that role, dominating every opponent. That is what Casemiro brings to the party. He stabilized the midfield. He's allowed players with attacking instinct to go and flourish and do their job. Bruno Fernandes hardly chases the ball back because he knows he needs to be in the opponent's 10. The pass will come. There are people who are in charge. Eriksen will pick the pass. Carlos Casemiro will pick the pass. So he's gotten everybody to believe. And Marcus Rashford, you may not like him, but I believe he's been properly coached now. Because he bombed onto the scene at the age of 17, 18 years.
Under Van Gaal, I believe.
Under Van Gaal.
That's how long it's been.
He's been coached by Mourinho. He's been coached by Solskjaer.
Yeah.
I think they all didn't coach him properly. If you put the burden of Manchester United on the shoulders of a 17, 19, 20-year-old player, then there's problem wrong with you as a coach. But what this man has done, he's just told the boy, go and enjoy yourself. Be free. This is what I expect from you. Press the ball as and when you need to press the ball. Play for the team. When you are isolated against that fullback, take him on. And that's exactly. Sherman Coleman couldn't live with him. And therefore, whatever good things United did on the day, Rashford was involved.
All the goals.
It can only get better. But come Saturday, in that Manchester derby, that is where, for me as a Man United fan, I want to see where the progress has gotten to. Nobody will move ahead of time. If you're a United fan and you're watching Scorecard, I'm saying don't move ahead of time. Because if you do that, you end up getting nowhere. We are going to use Man City on Saturday. We know they are the better team in the land. They are by far. Pep has been in this job for close to 7 years. We have just gotten a manager who has just been there for less than 6 months. So we are not at their level yet. They want to see a better Manchester derby than the 6-3 we saw in the first round.
It was 60, right?
Yes, it was 6-3. Make it even more competitive. Casemiro be in the mix of things, and let's see how it goes. But look, Ten Hag is on track. The team will be sold latest by March, April. In the summer. In the summer. Oh, no more. In the summer.
If I were you, I wouldn't be so optimistic. See, new owners take a while. I mean, that's even if an agreement is going to be reached.
This Man United sale, the way the Glazers are handling it, we are not talking. We wake up one morning, boom, it's out there. The team sold. The board dissolved. Meta, Arnold, get a newly board constituted. Then we'll go into the market. Osimhen, João Felix,
Why are you
Enzo Fernandez. I've said it.
Why are you sitting
I
out
said
here?
it on Sports Panorama. If nobody pays the money, United don't have money to spend on Enzo Fernandez this January. That's also take my word. If nobody buys this boy in January, in the summer, I don't
even remember when
I just want to go on something. Coach
he's the
has said.
number 9 we want.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
And on Carlos Casemiro, I knew that when he came, he solidified the defense, he did protect the defense. But his passing, his passing is very underrated. I think we didn't see it at
it has always been.
But we didn't notice it because
Real Madrid,
Cruz and Modric overshadowed the passing.
And that's what I'm saying. If you watch Real Madrid, then Cruz and Modric will drop deeper than him, and he'd be almost like he's playing 10. They will come and pick up the ball and progress it. So you are not seeing his passing, but now he's a man and he's the one progressing. The range of passing he showed is surprising.
It's brilliant.
This is someone we watch very regularly, and it's
I watch Real Madrid games, so I'm not too surprised. In fact, I think the next dimension of Casemiro you are going to see is the Casemiro who can actually get into the box.
Oh, that one there, I used to see it at Real Madrid, but I'm saying that because Cruz and Modric were doing most of the progressing,
you wouldn't appreciate
him once or twice. Now that he's doing a lot, like he's right now the one who has to do a lot. I'm like, okay, I think I always thought he was a very good player, but I say I underrated that part of his game.
His ball playing skills.
I underrated it.
You remember when we bought him, that Sports Panorama show?
Yeah.
The description I gave to him? For me, I've always rated him highly.
Yeah.
Because look, if you're not good, you don't play for Real Madrid in that position.
And he's won a lot.
And won everything.
Yeah, he's won a lot in that position. It's
not
like
I knew that. Look, I knew that once he came to a team, Man U's defense will improve.
Yes.
Like there was no doubt about it. But the fact is, the things that Fred and McTominay couldn't do,
he's doing it with cheeky ease.
Honestly, and that's why he can play with Eriksen, because Eriksen has no defensive instincts.
Yep.
But Casemiro is doing the work of two people. He's everywhere. As someone said, they are watching a Man U game and they see the other team counting. They say they count for 5 seconds. They expect that in the next 5 seconds, Casemiro has the ball.
Exactly,
and lo and behold, every time he's there.
And you know what's crazy? A lot of people felt like he was on the wrong side of the age spectrum. And so United were getting a worn out and finished Casemiro. It appears as if, how old is he now? 30?
Look, he's 30. I think he's going to give United
crazy thing is
4 good years.
Exactly.
No, the thing is, the reason why everyone believes that is that Real Madrid, they are very good at selling. Yes. Usually when Real Madrid sell you, it means that the end is near or it's coming. No, let's be honest. Real Madrid, they've done that they've bent a lot of teams now. They'll get a lot of money for their player.
Yeah.
And by the time you see what the person who's playing for the other
Chelsea is paying them back in Eden Hazard. And so
that's a good one.
That's a good one. That's the reverse.
That's their own private payback.
I have to say, in a way, I think Real Madrid are lucky Hazard didn't work out. Because if Hazard had worked out, I don't think we'd be seeing the Vinicius we are seeing today. Yeah. So it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, there's always a blessing somewhere where somebody thinks that they've been slighted. Let's get to the other game that was played, the FA Cup third round still. It was between Liverpool and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Very interesting game. Liverpool's defense still creaking, still looking like they need some form of life injection from somewhere. In the end, Wolves will be feeling very green, or they'll be feeling very upset with how this eventually played out, because very controversial goal disallowed, supposed to be an offside. You'd watch it again. You tell me if there was an offside or not. But let's get into it. Liverpool, Wolves, it was at Anfield. Welcome back. Liverpool 2-2, so there's a replay on the cards there. Wolves will not be happy about how this played out at all, Coach.
Yeah. I think we did a game on radio, and of course, from what we saw, clearly Wolves won the game. Because that third goal that was disallowed, we still don't understand why it was disallowed. And the VAR decision to disallow the goal was not clearly shown to viewers on TV. And I was of the view that this Liverpool setup needs to change. Maybe club will have to go to a plan B. Maybe there are times where, because the pressing that Salah, Mane, and what's the other guy? Firmino triggered, that got every other Liverpool player anticipating better and blocking the channels, were done so effectively over the years. Klopp is finding it difficult to change the system. This team is expected to go and press. Darwin,
but they don't press.
Gakpo, Salah, but they don't press. And yesterday, this Wolves team, they had 9 changes to their first team. But yesterday, they could play past the Liverpool press and build through Liverpool and then started running at the back four of Liverpool. And the absence of Van Dijk, yes, he himself has not been very, very super this season. He's defending very, very shambolic. But if he's not there, it looks very, very kindergarten. Yesterday,
the kind of errors. Look,
too many individual errors. And like I told you already, I tend to blame Martin because he's
about 30, 31.
Exactly. And so you expect that. He was there before Van Dijk. Van Dijk came, took up the leadership role, control everybody. And there has to be one voice that everybody is supposed to listen to. At least your partner, the DM, and the two have. Normally you tell the center back closer to the right person, the right fullback to control. You closer. But of all the communication going on, I have the final say. And yesterday, look at the manner in which Mate controlled Konate. Absolutely unacceptable. And like we said, Wolves deserve to win the game. If Liverpool doesn't find a better way of defending as a team, whether high press, medium block, low block, or a combination of medium, low, it has to be clearly defined. I don't see it to be that clearly defined with this Jurgen Klopp Liverpool team. That's why the fear factor is a game goal. One of the things that made them so fearful was the manner in which Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah and Bobby Firmino were pressed, and Henderson. Then you see all the guys joining in to block the channel. They are not pressing.
The intensity is not even there anymore.
Exactly. So teams now have the belief that, look, we can pass through this guy. We can bypass the press because it's not properly coordinated. And they will miss top 4 if they don't fix that thing, to be honest with you.
I mean, coach has said, you play a high line because you are pressing. That's why you have a high line. You don't play a high line for playing a high line. Because if you play a high line and you are not pressing, what you are doing is you are basically just leaving space for players to run into. Because if you are not pressing, they'll pass to you. There's not as much space, but they'll pass to you, play a ball over the top, and your defender is running. And part of the reason it worked was how good Van Dijk was. Remember, Van Dijk at his peak, when people were saying best in the world, best ever, when he was getting those shouts, it's because
being compared to Vidic and Ferdinand at the goal, John Terry.
Because the thing is, one thing I'll say Van Dijk has that those guys never had is they never played in a high line that high. And the way Van Dijk, if they played that ball over the top, no attacker outpaced him. If you remember, it did not matter where he'd get him to the corner. I know people used to laugh at him that he doesn't like defense, but once he shepherds you to the corner, the attack is dead.
Big.
That's all he needs. The attack is dead. He's still doing that to an extent. It's not as effective, but that's not even the problem. The problem is that, like coach said, the press. If you're not pressing with that high line, it's just 1-2 ball over the top. Luckily for Liverpool, Alisson is great at one-on-ones. This is another thing. Alisson saves them a lot.
Even yesterday, he saved 2 one-on-one situations.
Because Alisson's one-on-one saving is some of the best in the world. Like, if you look at other keepers, they don't get one-on-ones as much. But because of Alisson, so a lot of players were carrying very heavy loads in the system. But it was working because at least the press made it that. Instead of getting 5-6 chances a game, the other team is getting 2-3. It makes a big difference. So, see someone like Trent. Now, we are seeing how bad Trent is as a defender because he's being exposed 10, 15 times a game. When before, he's being exposed 3 times. All those things build up because it doesn't matter which player you are. Even if you have Maldini and Baresi as your centre-backs, if you attack them 50 times a game,
you find a way.
You will find a way. That's why the midfield, and the truth is, part of it is age. Because if you look at the pressing, if you are running like that, a lot of key players on the wrong side of 30. Salah, Thiago, Henderson, Fabinho. I don't think it's Fabinho. I don't think it's 30. He's just out the cut. And we can see Fabinho is not the athlete he used to be. Van Dijk, the injury has robbed him. Matip, 30, 31. So right now, the young people in their team is basically Trent and to a certain extent Robertson. Robertson is And Robertson is probably in his late 20s.
Yeah.
So that's why they are trying to rejig the forward line, buy all these guys, bring more energy. But the core of the team is still too old, and that's the problem. And then someone like Javier Elliott, I don't think Javier Elliott should be playing in midfield. I don't think he has the intensity. I think he's a forward, in all honesty. I don't think he has the intensity because he's very good with the ball, silky, he can do things, but I don't think he has the intensity for
that energy in
I don't think so. When you look at this team, it's not that there's anything wrong with the players, but Klopp is just he's too stuck in, and that's what coach is getting to. The way they play, it was predicated on the high line working and compressing the space and making it difficult for the final third. Exactly. Now that you can't do that, you have to find a way because your players can still do things, but you have to learn how. Someone like Salah is what 30-31 now. Yeah. I don't think it would be fair on Salah at 30-31 to be running the city because we've seen what happened to someone like Messi. I don't think we've seen Messi be the Messi who could pick up the ball and dribble from the center since about 2016, 2017. So what did Barca do? He stopped playing on the right and started playing more as a number 10 behind Suarez. You have to adjust to players. You have to kind of protect them in their age as they grow and that kind of. There's a very good team in this Liverpool team, but I don't know. And it's not about Klopp's ability, but I don't know.
Stubbornness.
Yes, I don't know if Klopp. I don't know if Klopp is the man to get the best out of this team because the way he plays, you need that intensity and that energy. And if you have so many key players in their 30s, I don't think it's fair to expect them to press the way he needs the system to. Because the press has died because if you look at the stats, you can look at this year on year. When it comes to regains in the final third, Liverpool were consistently top 3, top 5. I think at the beginning of this season, we were down to about 10th or 16th.
Yeah.
Wow. And if you are down to that and you are a team that plays a high line like Liverpool,
you're in trouble.
It basically means you are just standing there for them to play through. That's what's going to happen.
And I don't know if Liverpool have had to come back from a goal down
every game. And so I don't know where the final third regain statistics are now. But if you look at it, it will be
probably check it out.
I'll check it. And the thing is, if you're a team that has more of the ball, your final third regains will be higher. It's only because the other team is losing the ball more, you have the ball more. It's only natural. But if you're a high pressing team with a high line like that, aside the possession, it should be high to show that the press is working. And Liverpool that statistic alone shows that there's a problem there.
Just before we go into the second game, I mean, Coach, just quick thoughts on Lopetegui and the work he's done on Wolves since they came. They had a lot of attack-minded players, bought a lot of expensive players. They couldn't finish. All of a sudden, this team is getting goals. They are looking a little difficult to beat. They look like they are turning in a different direction.
Yeah, exactly. I think he walks into the team, and the first thing he might have seen is the fact that these were a group of players whose ability was not in doubt, but they were lacking in belief. They just didn't believe that they could go on and compete. So what he's done, he's made them very competitive.
Yeah.
And he's also gone in to solve the defensive problem because they were not scoring goals, but they were shipping in goals. So he's made it very clear to them, look, if we can limit the number of goals we concede, then we've given ourselves every opportunity to use one goal, 2-1 maximum, to win football games. And you can clearly see the movement. Yesterday, there were moments in the game where they decided to go long and he stopped them and said, look, don't do that. Believe in your ability. This is what I've told you to do. Be confident enough to bypass the press of Liverpool because they were not pressing in a very coordinated manner. The Liverpool press was being all haphazardly done. So you should see the point and then pass through them. So I think with time, I think he will save them. From the way they are played, if they can continue like this, I don't think they'll get relegated.
I want to talk about something about Wolves. I wrote an article before the season started. I don't know if you remember, about 4 teams I thought would be in trouble. I identified Southampton, Wolves, Leeds, and Everton.
That's right.
Now, when I looked at their stats from last season, they would definitely struggle this season. And Wolves, I think, was the most controversial because when people looked at Wolves' record, they weren't conceding a lot.
Yes.
But when you look at the stats, the XG and that kind of stuff, if I tell you their XG against was the 19th worst in the league, you'll be surprised. But Jose Sa was the best keeper statistically in the league. And that's why their defense looked okay. So now that Jose Sa has kind of become a more normal keeper, the XG against is showing. And that's why Bruno Lage had to go because they weren't scoring. Their top scorer last season was Raul Jimenez. He scored 6 goals. 6. That's your top scorer in the league. You're not going anywhere. So the Wolves team, I don't think it was a personnel issue. I think Bruno Lage just could not get anything out of it. But because Jose Sa was doing crazy things every week, keeping them in games, and they weren't conceding a lot, the results were lying. So they were getting some draws and some wins that if you look at the statistics inside the game, they shouldn't have won this match. Because the truth is, you can always look at results and say, okay, you won 1-0. Now, if you go into the stats, that 1-0 you won, how much of it was the other team didn't finish well? How much was it that your keeper had? So when I looked at Wolves especially, and I looked at Wolves' record, I think they considered a good, they had maybe the 5th best defense in the league last season. Then when you look at the XG, they have the 19th worst defense. This isn't sustainable.
And I think they lost their best defender, the Moroccan captain. I don't know what happened. He just left.
Yeah, he left.
And that I think is one of the major problems.
I think Bruno Lage didn't like Saiss and Konakodi. Because if you remember, he let Konakodi go to Everton because he thought Konakodi couldn't play in a back two. And now we see Konakodi playing in a back two with Tarkowski. I won't say Konakodi is amazing, but I don't think he's so bad that they couldn't have kept him around. You know.
So Saiss could play in a back three, in a back two.
So I think Bruno Lage made some mistakes, and I think that goes down to his inability as a coach. And Lopetegui, like we said, he's a Europa League winner. This was someone who was Spain coach. He messed up and wasn't able to coach at the World Cup because of his own eagerness to go to Real Madrid and all that. But he's a way better coach than Bruno Lage. And when we look at the players, they have Pedro Neto, Guedes, some of the Neves. These are some of the players who played at high levels and they are old. So I think to yourself, this is a team that should be in the top half very easily. So the numbers when Bruno Lage was coach were horrible. So it's not a surprise that Lopetegui has increased the level of this team. But it also wasn't a surprise they were struggling. Now, I expect Wolves to comfortably survive with Lopetegui because this is someone who coached them. And even Sevilla were doing very well, but towards the end of his Sevilla, the beginning of this season,
that's also an aging team.
Exactly. Sevilla really, and you went to that point. Sevilla had no one who could run. If you watch that Sevilla team, it's like everyone in the team. Everyone.
Carlos. Fernando, the player.
I mean, they had.
Fernando was
You had Jesus Navas at right back. Jesus Navas about 36, 36.
Jesus Navas played in Sevilla, went to Manchester City, came back to Sevilla, was still playing.
And they are good players, but if in this age of pressing and all these type of things, you can't have players like age, right? Even Rakitic is still in the midfield. I mean,
I feel like you're rightly saying, look, in this age of pressing and high intensity, if you have an 11 where 1 or 2 players are deciding to walk or take,
seriously,
that's it for you.
Seriously, you can have players who are working, but you have to know how to use them. You have to know that, okay, if our centre back has not pace, our block is a bit deep. We know our striker doesn't have pace. Because AC Milan are using Olivier Giroud in strike. It's working for them because they are playing in such a way that you get the best out. But if you look at the people who are behind Giroud, they run. So you have to look at those things.
Very interesting tactical discussion there. Let's take a break here on the show. When we come back, we'll get into some action with Tottenham Hotspur, and then we'll check out that Manchester City versus Chelsea game as well. Coach has a few things to say as far as that game is concerned. Stay with us here on the show. We'll be right back. You're still watching Scorecard here on Citi TV. Coach Christopher Nimley and Susu Graham are my wingmen in the studio, breaking down the weekend's action. Let's get to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs were up against Portsmouth. It's been a really difficult time for Antonio Conte. He's dealing with his own injury issues. They are dealing with chemistry issues. Remember, at the start of the season, they were one of the teams that were scrapping wins together. 1-0, 2-1, 1-0. And individuals began to say that, well, doesn't look like this winning mojo is sustainable. It looks like it has all come full circle, but Harry Kane saved their blushes this weekend. Let's check out Tottenham versus Portsmouth. We'll come back and then we'll try and break it down. Welcome back. Coach, your good friend Antonio Conte is struggling. Look, if you saw this game, wow. I'm sure Portsmouth will feel like they should have gotten something out of this.
Yeah, without a doubt. Look, he should pray Harry Kane doesn't get injured. Well, if he does, the team is finished.
Season dusted.
The team is finished. Because look, without him, where would they have been? Yeah. Nowhere.
In the last game, he saved them with 2 goals.
Yes.
This game, he's come through with the only goal to progress.
And it is becoming a problem. Toto Conte himself, his identity, you can't blame him. That is what he believes in. He believes in pragmatism. He doesn't allow flair. Look, if you are very technical, you don't play for Toto Conte, you don't play for Diego Simeone. To some extent, you don't even play. No, maybe Jose could have the likes of Hazard.
I don't even think that's necessarily true. I think he has to see you as so exceptional that he can. Because remember, he gave Hazard that freedom.
in terms of Jose.
No, I'm talking about Conte. He gave Hazard, he gave Pirlo that freedom as well.
No, but that's what you're saying.
But he surrounded him by some.
He will need to think that you are technically.
You have to surround you with some
but
very.
If you are that,
Because look, that's why he had Pirlo. Then he had Marchisio and Vidal on his side.
Take it or leave it. I think he's made Son a bad player in my view. Yes, because by far he is the most enterprising, entertaining.
He's the most complete player in this Spurs team. And all of a sudden, we are not seeing his use anymore.
Because he's been asked to do things that is taking away his attacking instinct away from him. And that cannot be allowed to happen because you cannot ground out results every week in, week out. Even when you're playing against lower opposition, like Portsmouth and Co. No, you can't do that. There are times where his body language as a coach has not sent the right signal, even to his players themselves. When he looks at him, he does this. That Toto Conte, I know, will be what? Micromanaging. He will be coaching the players minute by minute throughout the 90 minutes. But I'm not seeing how. I don't remember the last time I saw him do this.
He said that the other teams have bazookas and he has water pistols or something like that.
He's already condemned. You see, when you speak like that, it's like the protagonist you are hoping will go out there to work for you. You are even criticizing and you don't believe
You're telling your players that
they are not good enough. I don't like managers. Work with what you have. And no excuse. This is his team. This is his team. Because when he came, those he didn't like, the likes of Lesoso and Co. He shipped all of them out.
Birdvine, they've all gone.
They've all gone. And he's bought those he wanted. He bought Bissouma. He bought Richarlison, Perisic. He's bought those he wanted. Kulusevski, he's bought all
Christian Romero, all those guys were brought in because of him.
Bentancur.
So once you have Bentancur, Kulusevski and Co. injured, the team shouldn't be looking like this. And if he doesn't fix that, very soon, he's got Arsenal to play. He's got Man City to play. He's got Chelsea to play.
Have a very crazy
He's got United to
lineup
play.
of matches coming.
No.
He has to improve. I disagree with Coach on the Son thing because remember last season Son had his best season ever.
So what is gone wrong?
I don't want to blame Conte for this. In the sense that I don't think he's spoiled Son. I'm not saying that the malaise is not his fault, but I'm saying that I don't think he's done anything to Son. But I don't know what it is. But this Spurs team is just not clicking.
And it's the coach.
Them. I don't know what it is because we saw them last season, if I remember correctly. Remember they beat Man City. Remember that was it their 3-2 game? They've had some very good games. There was attack. Even though they were pragmatic and defending, they broke our speed. They made things happen.
We have not seen those things.
We've not seen in your end. I remember, Coach, if you remember in the others, I said that. Oh, I think Spurs win the league because the way they were playing last season, and I saw that Conte has brought in the players he wanted and that kind of. I thought going into this season, this is a team that is ready. They are primed to do something, and they've not had. I feel like watching the whole season, they've had maybe 5 good performances the whole season.
And that is unacceptable.
Maybe 5. And of those 5 performances, like you get what I'm saying, and they've played how many matches? Just
I think 18, 19 games.
And that's even including the Champions League. It's lucky for them that
they've even been more terrible in the Champions League.
Just,
you see them.
And it's just that they've managed to get results every week.
They qualify at the last minute.
They've just been grinding out results, and and that's the reason I don't want to blame Conte for someone like Son because Harry Kane is still delivering, and
even Harry Kane self. His performances have not been.
If you look at,
very undulating.
Let me just point something out to you. Watch out for the quality of chances he's had to finish with this season. He's basically squeezing water out of stone.
And they are not clear-cut chances.
And if he was not as good a striker as he was, he wouldn't have had the numbers he's had.
But the reason part of that happens is that right now Harry Kane is not even playing in the box. Because he drops deep and is trying to.
It is because Conte gets them to be very deep,
but I'm saying even
and then explode on the counter-attack.
And
who's the best player to explode on the counter-attack?
And that's why
it's Son.
And that's something Son has even been playing up front. But Son, his goals have dried up. And I don't think it's anything to do with Conte because even for South Korea, he's not scoring.
We need to look at perhaps the attempts he's having, the chances he's getting.
The thing about Son is, if you look at that, it won't tell you much because Son, since he came to the Premier League, has outperformed his XG. This is something he's consistently done. Like if you give Son Heung-min maybe an XG of 7, he'll get you 10 goals. That's the player he's been since the start. So if Son is not scoring, with the little you are giving him. I don't think it's on the coach because it's something that Son has always done, which is score more than he should based on the chances he gets. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
He's not even getting the chances to put them away.
I don't know.
And it's the way the team is
and I watched the weekend's game.
That's what I'm saying. They have been shambolic.
Yeah.
But in general, the chances for at least Son, they've never been that many. And for me, what's the main problem is like the midfield that has no
control over a game.
No control over a game.
Therefore,
that's the main thing.
To the coach. But if you are playing Bissouma,
no, coach.
No,
coach, I'm on his.
There's no
coach, I agree with you that the team has regressed under Conte, but I wouldn't say it's more so like the individual players. And the truth is, when you look at this team, the team is on paper better than last season.
But their worst
I think we can all agree that. So it's very strange that suddenly I won't even say their worst is by a significant degree because they are playing like a team that it should be 10th. But somehow, because of Kane's goals, they are where they are. You know, they look like a team that can sneak into the Champions League.
It takes a longer turn. Their true form will show.
Oh, they are true form. Because remember, in the top 4 for the longest time, and it's only now that they've dropped out.
Yes.
They'll continue sliding because. And they have the same problem as Liverpool in that more often than not, the other team scores first. They have the same
Always
problem.
have to come back.
Always have to come back.
Tottenham Hotspur look like they have a mountain of problems. Let me tell you who has more problems than Tottenham Hotspur. Chelsea Football Club. Now, they were not looking forward to this game at all. They had already lost in the Premier League game by a lone goal to Manchester City. 3 days after they needed to follow it up with an FA Cup game. This time as well, it was rather shambolic. Let's get to the Etihad and let's see how this one particularly broke down between Manchester City and Chelsea Football Club. So 4-0. 4-0 is how it ended between Chelsea and Manchester City. So the Chelsea fans' fears were confirmed. It was going to be a bloodbath, and that's exactly what happened. Mahrez, Kyle Walker, everybody getting in on the act in this particular game. Chelsea have won once in their last 7 matches. They have a truckload of players who are injured. The Graham Potter spell is not going well at all so far. I say early days yet. Too early to hit the panic button. Coach, what say you?
I agree with you. In fact, he has to stay on till the end of the 5 years. Because why are you laughing? Oh, but they've given you a 5 years.
But you and I, we are talking short term. Short term to mid term. Why are you talking about staying on for 5 years?
Todd Bowley.
Who has stayed on at Chelsea for 5 years?
That was under Abramovich.
Okay.
This is under Todd Bowley.
Fair enough.
Bowley way of doing things are very different.
Fair enough.
You see, but look, Nketia, everything is not well. I don't see any good thing happening at Chelsea when it comes to the playing body, when it comes to the level of coaching, the quality of the coaching. Everything looks so bad.
Wait, hold on. Let me just hold you there for a second. What's happened? Because we were all, again, raving about how complex Graham Potter's offensive schemes were at Brighton, how good an offensive coach he was. And even when he came to Chelsea, in the beginning, first 4-5 matches, they had results to show for it.
Yeah, they were winning.
What has changed so far?
Look, in the first 4-5 matches,
I just want to...
They won those games. The performances were very, very bad.
And I want to speak on Graham Potter. I think it's different when you're at Brighton and teams think they can beat you and they attack you. Yes. And when you're at Chelsea and
you are expected to go and beat
the teams are playing 30 yards deeper.
And
you are now supposed to
break them down.
It's very different. I think that's what Graham Potter's football is not adjusting well to. Because there were a lot of games that if teams went to really sit back against Brighton, they struggled.
Exactly. So, again, you see, he's not a motivator. It's like the team is just going down.
He's one of those people who's
he has a
tactics coach.
He has a degree in emotional intelligence or something like that.
There's
I can't remember what it is, but there's something
this
like
Man
that.
City team showed up today without their 2 best players. Without De Bruyne.
Without Erling Haaland.
And without Erling Haaland. Chelsea today had Koulibaly. They had Kovacic. They had Kai Havertz. They had Jorginho. Which other first team player did they have? They had
a good chunk of their first team players
in the game today. So if you are a coach and you come and you don't see De Bruyne, you don't see Haaland, quickly, Charlie, the guys are not there. This is the way to come. Let's go. Let's go and punch them a bit. But we didn't see any. There was no fighting spirit.
fact, this performance was flatter than midweek.
Exactly.
Which
and
is
and I thought that was strange because if you lose 1-0, it's a defeat,
like,
but it's a credible defeat. So
on their way to the Etihad, they knew they were going to get beat. And that is
the first half was
so bad an attitude.
The first half
the
was
game
pathetic,
was over.
to be honest. It was pathetic.
In 30 minutes, it was game over. Chelsea,
They didn't have a shot in the first half.
They were not brave. And you need your coach to get you guys to be brave. When you pick up the ball, show bravery. Go at it. The defenders, Koulibaly, Chaloba, and this one, drive the ball forward. Take the ball along. Show a bit of bravery. Be intent.
There was no confidence in the performance.
They were so sloppy with the ball. They were so sloppy. Every third pass, they would just
lose the ball.
And there was a sequence somewhere in the second half where Chelsea were kind of the counter. I think the fullback, Lewis Hall, was about 30 yards from the Chelsea goal. He passed it back, and the pass was so wayward. It missed both the central midfielders and went to Julian Alvarez. I'm not even joking.
And
so
right there,
that pass basically moved Chelsea. Not only did they have the ball about 40 yards from the City goal, the pass was so wayward. Now Julian Alvarez has the ball in your half. That's how bad the pass was.
So if you're a coach, you stand up and tell the young man that next time, take the ball forward. But he just sat there, folded his arm, and he was looking. Go see his reaction when Kai Havertz stupidly, I repeat, stupidly punched the ball in the box.
In the era of VAR.
Go see Graham Potter's reaction. He says something which I cannot say here. But at the end of the day, he got him substituted. But again, if you're a Chelsea fan, you'll be playing Fulham on Thursday, away from the bridge. You better. They are lying 10th in the league. Tactically,
Out of the league,
there's nothing good to talk about.
Cup, out of the FA Cup.
They will get booted out of the Champions League. They will go trophyless. Because when they won the Champions League, they had a certain Thomas Tuchel who just walked in and everything just had a 360 turn. Yeah. And from the way Tuchel was approaching the players, his coaching method. I hear the players are even skeptical about Porter's coaching method. I mean, the coaching method, he needs to improve.
Yeah, especially
because we are not seeing
you've worked with a Champions League winner. Now they begin to scrutinize everything more.
He's trying to blame the injuries in the team. Nobody would accept that. Typical of the English press. They want to justify the performance.
Coach, I actually agree with you. I actually agree with him because the reason I'm saying that is the only credible performance I've seen from Chelsea is when Reece James was in their team. To be honest.
Reece James gets injured. Everything just goes.
And I'm just saying
that's down to bad coaching then.
But even Tuchel had a similar problem that when Reece James wasn't playing, the team just didn't look as good.
But look, at the end of the day, you cannot.
You can't hang your hopes.
Who is Reece James? He's not a creator. He's a fullback who will give you lots of options going down the flanks. But if you want players to, why is Jorginho? Look at Kovacic. He's a progressor of the ball. He drives the team forward.
But he doesn't have a final pass.
But we are not seeing that again. The Kovacic I know, alongside Jorginho, they will control football games. You want to talk about N'Golo Kante, but the least said about him, the better, because he's
barely
not
sees
in
the pitch
picture these days. So you don't want to say because he's not there. No. Chelsea as a team should have moved on from N'Golo Kante by now. I hear they want to give him another 2 years contract.
Let me just give Susu a few minutes to just touch on the Chelsea problem, because from everything we are discussing, it looks like it's not just tactical. There's the motivational or the emotional bit as well.
No, I agree with Coach 90%. But the injuries thing actually does matter, because I think if you're a coach and you're coming into a new job and you don't have your best players, you're already at a disadvantage. It shouldn't be as bad as it is, granted. I think we can all agree on that it's not as good as it should be. But let's not discount the injuries, because even the Man City game, you start the game with a game plan, and within 30 minutes, you've had to make 2 subs. It's very difficult to go forward when these things happen.
The goalkeeper is the first choice. Defender, Larry James. There's Cesar, Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, Cucurella, there's Jorginho, there's Kovacic, there's Mason Mount, there's Hakim Ziyech, there's Aubameyang. Look at the way they are using Aubameyang. It's the coaching problem. So Aubameyang has become so bad.
I can also agree to an extent, because look, I'll tell you what, Reece James is definitely top 3 best Chelsea players right
back.
And so if he's out of it, they're definitely going to feel.
The reason why I don't want to accept the Reece James argument is that he does not control game.
Yeah.
But
coach, he's the only player on that Chelsea team, apart from Mason Mount, who plays the final ball. And if we are being honest, Jorginho is sideways.
He controls.
Kovacic just runs into the final.
But why should this manager be playing Kahavas as number 9 when Aubameyang is in this thing?
That one.
Bring Kahavas into number 10 position. Let him get on the ball.
But even Thomas Tuchel was doing the same thing.
No, but that was when he didn't have a striker.
But when Lukaku came, he did the same thing.
That's the Lukaku issue. We all saw that he started until he granted that interview and took a decide to do with that.
But coach, I agree with you that maybe Aubameyang should be playing more.
Yes.
But when you look at the Chelsea team, in terms of the players who play the final ball, who play regularly, there's 2, Mason Mount and Reece James.
So one of them is Kai Havertz. If he's playing in his natural number 10 position,
coach, I disagree with you on Kai Havertz. I think Kai Havertz,
he's playing as a number 9, so he's supposed to feed.
No, but even Kai Havertz, when he was playing more as a number 10 in Leverkusen, I don't think the best part of his game was the final ball. It was more he was able to find space and get goals. He was more of a kind of floating number 10 who would get goals. I didn't see him as a number 10. He can pass, but I'm saying that it was not like the.
He's not an Ozil type of guy.
He's not an Ozil type. He didn't have that in his...
How many Ozils
Coach, we're just saying that, for me, Kai Havertz's best role is when he's playing off a striker and getting into the final.
Play him as behind a striker.
But I still think that his best attribute more is his getting to space to score rather than his passing.
No, when he plays as a number 10, he'll be involved in the build-up. Yeah. He can see the move and get to finish it. But when he's there, he's not involved in the build-up.
But even when he and Aubameyang play, I don't see it.
I'll be
honest. Because the style of football is bad.
Hold on. For instance, if you watch Havertz in games where he's played as a false 9, when he's not scored, he's literally a liability to the team.
Exactly. If you're a creative player playing as a false 9, you have the license to drop deep and for other people to run in front of you. And he's still not even showing us. The fact that he shows us zero creativity in that role makes me feel that if you play him as a number 10, we will see more creativity. Don't get me wrong. But if you are going from 0, playing false 9 to going to number 10, your creativity will increase by 3 by default of the position. Yeah. So you have to build on what you can have as a false 9. And what he's showing me as a false 9 makes me feel that if we move into a number 10, what you show us, you might as well stay with Mason Mount there, in all honesty. I honestly believe that.
I think Kai Havertz, during his developmental stages, will look at his trajectory. He's a player who should be allowed to get on the ball a bit more and play. And then he goes and finish.
But you see...
you are asking, he's not strong. He's easily bullied. If he's waiting there, especially when the team is not creating anything. Yeah. It's better you draw a little bit.
What would you do if you're Graham Potter in the current circumstance? You have injuries. You can't do anything about it.
No, I agree. Me, personally, I'm not a fan of playing midfielders in strike. So I agree with Coach on that. But I'm saying that for me, Kai Havertz, I'm not sure that he will solve the creativity problem. He might be a bit better, but I don't think that solves the problem. Because I feel like...
We are looking at what he has. What is the best option?
And
he will be better than Mason Mount. Coach, number 10.
Coach, let me finish. The thing about me is the way I see Kai Havertz, I think he will play better with a striker who's more like a Drogba type striker who can hold up the ball and lay it off, so he can run into the box and make things happen. That's what I'm saying. So if he plays with Aubameyang, I don't even think you get the best out of him, even if he's playing as a number 10. I think because of the way his style of play, Aubameyang isn't a striker for him to play with. That's the way I see it.
Because Aubameyang doesn't hold up play.
Aubameyang doesn't hold up. He is running. He is the one running. So
don't you think that this Chelsea team should have enough passes and then putting the ball into space for Aubameyang to run out?
They don't do it.
Rather, that is what I'm saying.
I saw bits of the new signing,
final ball that they have. The only people who play final balls regularly are Mason Mount and Reece James. You can add Ziyech to that, but Ziyech is always off form. Ziyech barely plays. So for me, there's a serious lack of creativity in this Chelsea team, and that's the first thing they need to. Because I think if you put Kai Havertz there and there's someone a bit more creative, aside Mason Mount and aside Reece James, he will probably look a lot better. But I think right now it's like the team
they have David Datro Fofana. They brought him from Molde. Brilliant movement from him. He looked strong on the ball. First touch looked good. The balls were just never coming. Like he would make a run and the pass would never come. He would make a run, the pass would never come. So it looks like Chelsea have a few issues to deal with. Like I said, they have a really brutal run of games coming. So if you're a Chelsea fan, it's a good time to strap in. It's a good time to really put your BP in check because it's about to get really rough for your team. I hope I'm proved wrong, but it's just that kind of schedule that you have. It might get worse before it gets better, but it looks like Potter isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
He has about 4 years.
8 months more. Thank you very much, Coach Christopher David. Thank you very much, Susu Graham. It's been nice with the analysis and all. Same time next week, we'll be back here with Scorecard.